how to stamp cookies for Christmas.
Let's see what's cooking. It's time for Yo-Yo Max 12.
Hello everyone. The first thing you're going to do is make the most simple cookie frosting possible. All it is some powdered sugar, and you add enough water or milk to it to get to the right consistency. And in mine, I added a little bit of white food coloring because I wanted it to be a little bit more opaque so that it just wouldn't be as translucent when I put it on the cookie. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. Just water or milk and powdered sugar and maybe a little bit of vanilla if you'd like to add a little bit of flavor to it. And you're just going to stir enough of that liquid in until you get a texture that is pourable and flows, but it's still thick enough that it's going to hold its shape when you pipe it onto a cookie. And that might take a little bit of experimentation, but it's not very difficult. Here are some baked and cooled sugar cookies, and I used the same dough as I did for my Santa cookies that I made on the last video. And then I just put that frosting in a piping bag with a little round tip and then just filled in the cookies. And if you gently tap, it helps get rid of all the air bubbles. Now here's a larger cookie, and you can see I just go around the edge first, draw out the perimeter or the edge of it, and then I fill into the center. Now you don't have to fill it in completely with the piping tip. You just add a bunch of the frosting in the center, and then you can use something like a toothpick just to spread it around and fill in all the gaps. And once the cookie is filled, if it looks a little bit lumpy, all you have to do is just gently tap the cookie and that'll net nice and smooth. Now for the stamping colors, I'm using gel paste food color mixed with a little bit of vodka. You could use water as well, but the vodka is nice because it dilutes your color, but then evaporates off the cookie so it doesn't add more moisture to your cookie. Now for your stamping sponge, that is a brand new kitchen sponge that I washed and rinsed well from brand new, and then I cut it up into small pieces for the different colors. So I did red, I did blue, and I did green. Now once your frosting is completely set, I let mine sit overnight. It's time to stamp them. Here is a stamp. Now you're supposed to use brand new stamps that have never been used for anything else. And then you're going to just dab on some of that food coloring onto the stamp, and then you're ready to stamp your cookie. Now you can decide how dark these are or how light depending on how much you dilute your color. And then you just gently press it onto your cookie. And I'm going to show you a close up here. Just gently press, and then there is your little snowflake in blue. Now the one thing with this powdered sugar frosting is that if you put it on really thick, it takes a long time to dry. Now this was dry to the touch, but was still kind of soft. So when I pressed down on the stamp a little bit too hard, it actually sunk into the frosting. If you use Royale frosting, which uses meringue powder, it should dry very, very hard and be actually super easy to stamp on. But I didn't have any meringue powder in the house, and I live too far away from the store that sells it to use it. This worked out pretty good though. And then you just kind of let this dry, and then the cookie is ready to be eaten. Now here's a larger stamp. I'm going to do 3 colors on. I used food prep gloves at this point because I was tired of cleaning food coloring off of my fingers. So I did red for the J, I did some blue for the O, and green for the Y. And then here's one of the larger cookies that I made, and then I put the stamp on. Press down just gently because I didn't want to break the cookie because the cookies are fairly thin. And this one didn't turn out as well because that center portion wasn't very well done. Here's another. I had a large Deck the Halls stamp. I did it all in one color of red. And this one turned out a little bit better. The only thing was that the part of the C was not quite completed. So I just took a toothpick with a little bit of red food coloring and just drew it in. And then you just let that sit and let it dry completely. Now I also tried some silicone stamps. Now that's an acrylic block. The silicone stamps come on a sheet of plastic. You just peel them off and then stick them on your acrylic block so that they're reusable. And I put a little bit of blue on this one. Now, what's great about acrylic stamp blocks and silicone stamps is that you can see through it. You see exactly where you're placing your design, and you can actually see the transfer of the food color onto the frosting. And this one I thought was super cute. I found the small cookies easier to do than the larger ones, because once you push the stamp down, you can't move it after that, right? And here's like a composite one. I did a circle with a little snowflake in the center. And there are all the blue ones that I made. I kind of grouped them by color. Once again, I think that the little ones are just the cutest as can be, and they're super easy to make. Now, it does take a little bit of practice to figure out how much food color to put on the stamp so that it doesn't kind of, get all smudged like on the edge of this one. But you know what? After a few cookies, you kind of get the hang of it, and you can actually do a decent job. This is a really fun and easy way to do a whole bunch of cookies all at once. And I also found that if you don't like to pipe that frosting on, you can just dip the top of the cookie into the frosting, let the excess drip off, turn it over, tap it, and that works well too. And it's also quite quick. And once you're done, you just throw the stamps into some hot soapy water, give them a good scrub, and then you can use them again either for more cookies, or you could even use them for stamping on to make cards and so on. The sugar cookies in this video were made using this recipe that I show in this video for these cute little Santa cookies. Thanks for watching. I hope you check it out.